on The Secret, How to Fight CPS and Win. I'm Cynthia Becker with attorney Vince Davis. Our last caller of the night, Laurel from California.
Hi.
Hi, Laurel. You have a question to ask?
Yes. I called a couple of months ago because my child was taken from me in the hospital for being homeless, and I've been trying to get in touch with Mr. Davis and never gotten any results from that. But I'm coming up to where they're, instead of terminating our parental rights, the CPS worker is going for guardianship for the extended family member. And but my daughter's attorney doesn't want that. They want to take her and adopt her out to strangers right away. And I'm fighting to get her back because we have a place that's safe and everything, and I have 4th stage breast cancer that I've been dealing with in the meantime, and I just need help in trying to get my daughter back before they adopt her out, and she's gone forever.
What is your question?
What can I do to fight my daughter's lawyer in not adopting her out? Because we'll go ahead and go with the guardianship, but I don't know what all the extent is with the guardianship if we have a chance of getting her back.
So to best fight the minor's attorney who wants adoption by strangers is to get an attorney for the relatives who have the child right now so that they can go into court and fight for the child to be or to continue to be in their home. That's the best strategy. You and your attorney will probably not be as effective as an attorney for the relative caretakers. And by the way, this whole theory by the minor's attorney used to be the law in California. It's, in my opinion, it's not the law anymore. If you're a relative caretaker and you have the child and the child has a bond with you, an emotional, a physical, a psychological bond with you, it's not a good idea to remove that child just because some stranger would adopt the child.
And that was our thought. I mean, it's been hard enough that they have our child and they won't give her back to us. And she's so little. She didn't even know who we were and screaming and crying when we saw her because of COVID. And, seeing her parents in masks and not knowing who we are, and I don't have my hair anymore, and because I've been going through chemo treatments and everything, and it's been devastating for her. She's only a year old.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember talking to me before?
Yes, and I've been trying to get in contact to go over my case, and I've gotten nowhere.
But you and I have talked about this case because you have a unique story. You have stage 4 cancer.
Right.
Yeah, I remember.
I'm still fighting it.
Yeah, God bless you. I remember talking to you, but please, if you can, get the caretaker an attorney, and so that person can go into court and fight to keep this child.
Okay. Is there any hope of us getting her back at all? I mean,
that I can't tell you. I can't tell you that because I don't know enough about your case, about the evidence that you have, the evidence the father has, the evidence the social worker has. I just don't know. I've never talked to the minor's attorney about it. But you continue your fight, but in the meantime, have the caretaker step up and step into court and let the judge know why, this child should not be removed from their home and given to strangers just because it's adoption. Legal guardianship is, in the code. It's a legitimate long-term strategy for a child. It doesn't always have to be adoption.
Correct. And then that's why we're going for that strategy, and also, in hopes that we could get our daughter back one day, but I have to fight this cancer in the meantime.
Right. Well, listen, I want to thank you for calling. Please consider my advice and my suggestions on strategy, and hopefully in a couple of weeks or months, you can give us a call and give us an update. Okay, Laurel?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for calling and thank you for listening.
You know, Vince, I struggle. I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice. I struggle when I hear people talk about disabilities because, as you know, I'm fully disabled. And CPS tried to use that against me and tried to say that I was an unfit parent because of my disabilities.
You know, I don't think that that's proper. In my opinion, it violates federal law. But I do get that sense sometimes, the social workers use that as an unwritten reason not to give you the child back. There was a case I read about where there was a Department of Health and Human Services investigation, and the mother was disabled, emotionally, mentally disabled, a slight tad, and she lost the child, and they adopted the child out to strangers. They wouldn't give it to the grandmother who lived with the mother, and DHS and the U.S. Justice Department came in and basically forced the county to give that child back to the family. And as I recall correctly, the child had already been adopted out to foster parents. And, it was such an egregious case, the federal government forced them to give the child back. So when I was telling people earlier, hey, make a complaint to the Department of Health and Human Services, make a complaint to the U.S. Department of Justice, the Civil Rights Division, those are very powerful tools. And these people at the federal level take these complaints seriously. I mean, it's not something that's just going to be swept under the rug. You make a complaint against Los Angeles County to the county, I don't know if that's going to be really investigated or not, or whether they're going to take the social worker's position, or side in the argument.
I'm being asked right now what disabilities I have. And the disabilities that I have is my entire digestive system shut down. So I have a G tube that empties my stomach, and I have a J tube that feeds me. I'm so sorry, my voice. But it does not mean I cannot take care of my kids. And I mean, I have different struggles, but don't we all? So I just want to offer people that are struggling or have a CPS horror story, if you want to share your story, to find us on Facebook, and it is the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories, and I would love to interview you if you have a horror story, if you have questions, if you want to just share what's going on in your case. I would love to interview you. Again, it is
the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories.
Thank you, Vince.
And by the way, on that particular show, Cynthia does interviews. I mean, she does interviews. It's like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours long.
Yes.
So you really get to share your story. There's no commercials we have to be worried, they're worried about. You get to tell your full story and talk to Cynthia and share with the world.
Yes. And I wanted to say, people need to be educated. When you're going against CPS, you need to be educated. And this show has educated me, and this is what helped me get my kids back. So I do want to thank you, Vince, for all of your knowledge that you share with us.
Well, you're quite welcome. It's my goal to help 1 million families. 1 million families. How do they get in touch with you if they want to be interviewed?
Well, you can private message us on Facebook, and that is the reality series, CPS The Horror Stories. And we are in the direct message like crazy, so we will respond immediately.
Any phone number they can call or anything like that?
Yes, of course, you're going to put me on the spot. Let me get it.
She had to get a special Google number because people were blowing up the phone, making appointments. And these are people from all over the country.
I can't find my number.
Okay,
Vince.
That's all right. This has been The Secret, How to Fight Child Protective Services and Win. I'm attorney Vince Davis. My co-host is Cynthia Becker, the host of the reality series CPS The Horror Stories. We'll see you next week on the radio.